Hi everyone, Flaming Footy here, and welcome back to a new YouTube video on the channel. And today, guys, we're going to be continuing our AFL 2023 three-game match reviews. And in today's video, we're going to be reviewing the middle three games of round 6 of the 2023 AFL season. And those are the grand final rematch, Geelong vs Sydney, Hawthorn vs Adelaide, and Carlton vs St Kilda. Alright, so starting at last night's grand final rematch between Geelong and Sydney. This one looked to be a very exciting matchup. Sydney do have plenty of injuries. The Cats do have some of their own as well, though. But in the end, it was Geelong by 93 at GMHBA Stadium. A very similar replay to last year's grand final. But yeah, GMHBA, the Cats absolutely smashed the Swans by 93. 20% 130 to 5, 737. One thing holding the Swans down to a low score, another thing smashing them by that. The Swans haven't looked as good in the past couple of weeks as what we thought they might have looked. They did have some big names out, both the McCartan brothers, Rampy, Franklin, just to name a few of their outs. So they were losing a lot of their key players. So yeah, it's definitely disappointing for them. But yeah, they got absolutely smashed in this game. They had no chance after half-time. They were gone, pretty much gone after half-time. I mean, they probably could have really forced a fight back if they wanted to. Then by three-quarter time, it was over. In the first half, it was, all Cats. The Swans got a little bit of momentum rolling at the end of that second quarter, but could not do anything after half-time. They did not kick a single goal after half-time. 3 behind from half-time, and that really did just sum up the game. The Cats looked like they could have potentially gone to that 100-point margin, but funnily enough for them as well, only 2 goals, 5 in that last term for the Cats as well. So they probably could have made this game really much bigger. Could have been pushing up towards 100, 110. Should have they kicked straighter and more in that last quarter. But the Swans played all right in that last quarter, I thought. Even though they only kicked 2 behinds, but they did stop the Cats scoring as well. But anyway, they were going to go down to some stats. 31 disposals for Dangerfield, 5 goals for Hawkins and Cameron. They ripped this game apart. 110 fantasy for Paddy Dangerfield, 10 tackles for James Rowbottom. Player stats now, AFL fantasy, 110 for Dangerfield, 100 for Stewart, 98 for Holmes. Goals behinds, 5 goals straight for Hawkins and Cameron. 2 goals for Close, Henry, Simpson and Hayward. 1 goal, 4 for Rowan, missed his chances in front of goal for the night. 31 disposals for Dangerfield, pretty much the most, well, by far the most of anybody else on the ground. 24 for Guthrie, 23 for Holmes and Stewart. Marks now, 7 for Stewart, Heaney, Mills. Tackles, 10 for Rowbottom, 8 for Heaney, Mills. Hit-outs, 28 for Laddams, 15 for Blitzarves, 11 for DeConing, 8 for McLean, 1 for Hawkins. Team stats now, the Cats smashed the Swans in disposals, 360 to 284. Only 284 disposals as well. Is a little bit of a concerning sign as well for the Swans. 54 to 40 inside 50s. The Cats had that area pretty well down pat as well. Centre clearances were 10 to 16 in favour of the Swans. Of course, the Cats did not have a recognised ruckman in the side. They went with Blitzarves due to Stanley being out. Segler was also a laid out. 26 to 19 stoppage clearances though in favour of the Cats. Way more uncontested possessions for the Cats as well. They won marks 91 to 76, 22 to 5 marks inside 50, so that's just a domination. 14 to 7 contested marks as well. They led for the whole game, the Cats. And yeah, they never looked like they were giving up the lead, even when the Swans looked like they might have given them a little mini scare at half-time. They still just played so much better and had this game in the bag for pretty much, well, really, ideally, the whole thing pretty much. Alright, now to Sunday's footy action between the Hawks and the Crows at Utah Stadium. And this was an absolute cracking contest. Hawthorn 11-10-76, Adelaide 11-13-79. The Crows got the job done by 3 points in the end. They didn't look anywhere near as good after Hawthorn. You could really say controlled this game. But in the end, the Crows found a way to get through and win the game in the end. Hawthorn did control this game despite not leading for most of it. They actually did look in control. It was, interesting first quarter where both sides were very close, scrappy. The Crows probably did have the better of the quarter. 2 goals on, 2 goals 3, missing some chances in front of goal. And then inaccuracy looked to haunt them again. 5 goals 7 to 5 goals 4 at half time. So again, missing some simple chances in front of goal, which really should be going through. And Hawthorn made their move and made this the time they're going to stay in the game. In the third quarter, the Crows look like right here, they were getting out to a bit of a lead, and they really could have done anything with that lead, but Hawthorn managed to peg it back to be a 1-point game at three-quarter time. And in the last quarter, they own this last quarter as well. They really do. They get out to a nice, I guess, 14-point lead of their own as well. The Crows here have multiple chances to come back. They kick behinds. But in the end, they managed to get a few goals late and somehow hang on after. Hawthorn again dominate that last moment, but can't find the goals. But it was a cracking contest. 30 disposals for Rory Sloane, probably Adelaide's most important player on the ground. But Taylor Walker, his 4 goals and 123 fantasy, also led them to the victory. And they wouldn't have won without Taylor Walker. Still, this experience going strong for the Adelaide Crows. 12 tackles for Rory Laird. All over them in the tackling department is Rory Laird. AFL fantasy, 123 for Taylor Walker, 122 for Jai Newcomb, who's a great Hawks player. 120 for Rory Laird, 115 for Sicily, 111 for Sloane, 107 for Saligo, 103 for Dawson, 102 for Rochelle. Dawson, he is in great form as well. 1 goal today, 24 disposals. He is looking like an absolute beast, is Jordan Dawson. 3 goals for Fogarty, 4 goals for Walker, as we know. 3 goals for Fergus Green as well. He and Tyler Brockman helped the Hawks actually hang around the contest. They both combined for 5 goals. Fergus Green with the 3, Tyler Brockman with the 2. That's what kept the Hawks around in this contest. 30 disposal for Sloane, 29 for Laird, 28 for Nash, who was pretty influential. 27 for Sicily, 26 for Newcomb. Marks, 11 for Sicily, 8 for Newcomb and Walker. Tackles, 12 for Laird, 10 for Newcomb, 9 for Michael Laney. Hit-outs, 42 for Reeves, 41 for O'Brien, 9 for Lynch, 3 for Thilthorpe, 1 for Long and Fogarty. Team stats now, it was very even around the disposal front. And inside 50, 47 to 53 in favour of the Crows. Let's see, clearances 39 to 46 in favour of Adelaide, 10 to 10 out of the centre, 29 to 36 stoppage clearances. Not much more at the moment. 7 to 14 marks inside 50. That can really be where the game does change. Both sides put on very good pressure. Some great pressure, and inside 50 it was a ground ball. It wasn't going to work. So those marks, in the end, 7 to 14, it was also definitely another game-changing stat. The Crows led for 3/4 of this contest, despite the tackling really being up 88 to 75 tackles, 16 to 8 tackles inside 50. Both of those in favour of the Hawks. The Hawks did put on more pressure than the Crows, and that's why those marks inside 50 were some very important stats. But in the end, the Crows win it by 3. Alright, now to the game which wrapped up not too long ago, Carlton vs St Kilda at Marvel Stadium. Really big top 4, top 8 battle. And in the end, we have learnt more about both of these two sides. Carlton 8-12-60, defeated by St Kilda 12-82. The Saints, another really good game. Their defence was great, keeping Carlton to 60. And it was a low-scoring contest, but definitely a big win here for the Saints. I felt like they did need this win for some real confidence, for some real belief that they can be up and about against these sides. And for Carlton, this is definitely a little dent in the road. They've lost their last 2 games, with a big clash versus the improving West Coast next week, which could be a little bit more interesting than we all think. But anyway, though, first quarter was the quarter which Carlton did own, and inaccuracy again did probably lose the game for Carlton, definitely, but there was another key point in the game which did lose it for them. Second quarter was also very even again, 6-7 to 6-3 at half-time, though missing some chances which probably should have gone through. Missing some golden opportunities to extend a bit of a lead. In the third quarter, that's where the Saints say goodbye to Carlton. That's where the game is lost, really. The Blues could have obviously came back from there, but that's where the game is definitely taken out of their control from a game which they probably did have at least half control of by half time. But in that third quarter, that's where the Saints just took them away, took the game out of their hands, got out to that lead, and then in the last quarter, both sides just kicked the 1 goal and failed to do anything spectacular. 39 disposals for Chera, 3 goals for Curnow and Butler, 131 fantasy for Walt, 7 tackles for Cripps, and Owens. We'll go to player stats now. AFL Fantasy, 131 for Walsh, 130 for Chera, 126 for Akers, Cripps, 119 for Newman, 110 for Mackay, 100 for Marshall. Goals behind, 3 goals for Kerno Butler, 2 goals for Silvani and Owens. Disposals, 39 for Chera, 38 for Walsh, 36 for Akers, 34 for Cripps, 29 for Hewitt, 28 for Newman. That's big numbers there for the Blues. 27 for Sinclair, 24 for the debutant Kincotta, I believe, or Chinchota, something like that. 24 for Ross as well. Marks, 14 for Mackay, 11 for Akers, 10 for Newman. Tackles, 7 for Cripps and Owens, 6 for Crouch. Hit-outs, 27 for Pitnet, 21 for Marshall, 7 for Young, 4 for Owens, 3 for Cordy, 2 for Membry, 1 for Cripps and Mackay. Team stats now. Wow. Carlton, you'd wonder. 446 to 360 disposal. They've had tons of the ball there, the Blues, which shows the Saints don't need to win the ball to have damaging numbers, damaging moments. 256 to 220 kicks, but opting to go by handball, 190 to 140. Those handballs, I tell you what, can get you into trouble sometimes. 52 to 56, inside 50 in favour of the Saints. Clearances were locked at 32. Centre clearances 13 to 9 in favour of Carlton. We know they like to do that. 19 to 23 in favour of St Kilda for the stoppage clearances. Carlton had way more uncontested possessions, 304 to 231. But yeah, they can be in the back line though. As you can see there, that big red. I'm not quite sure whether that's the forward line or the back line. But yeah, it does look, if that's the back line or if that's the forward line, to be in that one half of the ground rather than the other half. Marks 140 to 101 in favour of Carlton, 9 to 12 marks inside 50 in favour of the Saints. The Saints did lead for about 2/3 of this game, and they do send a real big statement to the competition that they are here to fight this year. Alright, so in terms of games going on right now, it's just the one. Gold Coast versus North Melbourne up at Heritage Bank Stadium. It is currently Gold Coast leading that game by 29 points. And yeah, I reckon they can definitely have a real... They can definitely take this game places. But North, they do need to come back. It's Goldie's 300th, and wouldn't they love to celebrate that with a win? There could be a decent finish coming up. We're only in the third quarter, 10.5 minutes to go, so we're not quite sure how that one's going to play out just yet. But at the moment, Suns by 29 in quite a commanding position in what you could also say is quite a low-scoring contest as well. And then the 2 Anzac Day games, Melbourne versus Richmond on the Monday night, and Collingwood versus Essendon, traditional Anzac Day in the traditional Anzac Day time slot on the Tuesday. And here, if you did miss the 3-game match reviews, make sure to go ahead and check that one out. By the way, here are the first 3 results from the first 3 games of the round, and obviously the middle 3 games. And yeah, these 3 will be in the last 3-game match reviews for this round. Here is the ladder as well. St Kilda do take a nice commanding position on the top and shall be joined by one of Collingwood or Essendon, unless if it's a draw. But yeah, if we do have a winner out of Collingwood and Essendon, they will go and join St Kilda on the top of the ladder on 20 points. Got a big, decent pack here of 16 pointers. And then, yeah, here is the rest of the ladder. Got plenty on 12 points as well. And then, yeah, big game between Gold Coast and North. Winner really does mean a lot. Live ladder, should the Suns win by their current margin, which I believe is 35, it will send them up into 14th. If they win by a bit more, though, they could really go 13th or 12th. And if North should overturn this deficit to get the job done, it'll send them up roughly into about 12th, depending on the margin. Alright, well, there we go. That's going to be it for the 3-game match reviews. 3 very interesting games. Thank you, guys. Also, so much for watching. Make sure to leave a like and subscribe and hit that notification bell. See you guys in the next video on the channel. Thank you, guys. Also, so much. Bye, everyone. Flame for the